there is one topic that has refused to die down in Abia State in the recent past, it is the withdrawal of the accreditation of our own dear Abia State Polytechnic by the National Board for Technical Education. A lot of analysis have been done on this. Even the social media space has been very, very busy despite government's explanations on the true position of things there at Abia State Polytechnic. I remember that last week, just a week ago, the Commissioner for Information, Dr Ikechukwu Mgborogwu, was on this show to state the government's own side of the story. In his characteristic manner, he took time to enumerate and tell the world the government's own side of the story, and practically he exonerated the government of Abia State from all blames in relation to what happened or what's still happening at Abia State Polytechnic. He said that the government is not to blame, but the management of the institution are to blame for the mismanagement of the resources of Abia State Polytechnic over the years. He also said unequivocally that the government in the past 7 years has released 7.1 billion naira to Abia State Polytechnic, which mathematically translates to 92 million naira per month. Dr. Ikechukwu Mgborogwu also said that in a bid to sanitize Abia State Polytechnic, that in the past 7 years, 5 board and management were hired and fired just to make sure that things were put in order. He didn't stop at that. He lambasted the National Board for Technical Education for withdrawing the accreditation, saying that the withdrawal of the accreditation was more political than administrative. What I understood and still understand by that is that the opposition are to blame for that. The government hasn't stopped at that. The government has taken measures to see that the ugly trend is reversed. That is, to ensure that things are done right at Abia State Polytechnic. We are aware that shortly after the embarrassing situation, the board and management of the Polytechnic were sacked by Abia State Government. A committee was also set up, headed by an erudite professor, to, within 30 days, restore the accreditation of Abia State Polytechnic. The commissioner did also promise that a judicial panel will be set up to look into all that has happened at Abia State Polytechnic in the past 10 years to unravel the circumstances that led to the sorry situation Abia State Polytechnic has found itself. And he did not mince words in saying that heads will roll at the end of the day. And just recently, a few days ago, the government released 450 million naira to the school to help take care of salary arrears. And I'm sure that money cannot go beyond 4 months. Ladies and gentlemen, this village head is also worried. Worried in the sense that there are other institutions that are suffering the same fate with Abia State Polytechnic. What becomes of them after now? For instance, we are aware that the accreditation of Abia State University Hospital, absolves, was also withdrawn long before that of Abia State Polytechnic. I am not aware what has been done to make sure that that particular trend is reversed. I'm also aware that lecturers at Abia State College of Education, Arochukwu, are also being heavily owed. What is their fate, and what is the government also doing to solve that problem? What about primary and secondary school teachers in government-owned schools who are also being owed? What is their fate, and what is the government doing about it? Time couldn't permit me last week to ask the commissioner these questions, and I'm sure he is going to be here very, very soon to answer these questions. The future of our children is important to all of us, to the government officials, to this village head, and every reasonable Abian. Today, some people are here and they disagree with the government of Abia State, saying that the buck stops on the table of the governor and that the governor shouldn't absorb himself, or the state government should not be exonerated from blames, that the whole blame should go to the government who owns the school and who hires and fires. I have two guests, but one is already here. He is Barrister Emperor Ogbonna. He's also a politician. He is the candidate of Young Progressives Party YPP for Aba Central State Constituency. Barrister Chief Emperor Gabriel Ogbonna, welcome to the Village Square.
Yeah, thank you very much, the Village Head. Thank you, Abians.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be a critical analysis of the issues surrounding Abia State Polytechnic. I wouldn't know whether it is from the opposition point of view or from an individual's point of view, but you be assured that you are going to have a rich conversation this evening, devoid of bias or anything. Last week, the commissioner was here, and in some of your reactions, you totally disagreed with him on the issue that the state government is not to blame over the problems of Abia State Polytechnic. What does that mean?
You know, it appears that the commissioner was speaking from both sides of his mouth. Let us just tell ourselves the truth. Who appoints these board members? If you look at the Abia State Polytechnic law, and if you look at the practice and procedure in Abia State, the appointments of the board of governors or the academic board, the board of the school, is made up. Is always made up. It's always done by the government of Abia State. It's the government of Abia State that appointed them. And now, if they had done very well, if the school had done very well, the government would have made a lot of noise and said that it was pursuant to the appointment, that it was done very well. They would have praised themselves. But today, the boards, the boards did not do well, and the government is extricating itself from responsibility and blaming the board. Is that not funny? All over the whole Abia State, we have people who are competent, but the government decided to pick people who are yes members, people who will be applauding the government, people who will be applauding the government and are just there to applaud the government. They appointed them to become members of this board, and today they have failed, and you are now shifting blames to them instead of blaming yourself that failed to appoint the competent persons to manage Abia State Polytechnic. Okay, let me tell you something. I heard you say that the government said that they're going to establish a judicial board of inquiry. I'm telling you here, me, Emperor Ogbonna, I'm telling you that no judicial board of inquiry is going to be set up.
How do you mean by that?
Let me tell you why. Remember that the governorship candidate of PDP was once the rector of that school.
Am I aware?
Yes. And he was also the rector of Abia State University.
The
vice chancellor of Abia State University. Now, this is election period. This is election year. Assuming they set up that judicial board of inquiry, and the judicial board finds that the person that the PDP brought out as their candidate for the governor,
that's Professor Chikone.
Yes. Okay. Assuming that board finds out that he's culpable, what will happen? What it means is that PDP will lose election. And I'm telling you, the government of the state will not set up any judicial panel of inquiry, because it will amount to suicide for the government to set up a committee that has the propensity to find their own candidates liable. So I'm telling you today, tell them the emperor said that they will not do so. Now let's go back to reality again. They said they brought out 7.1 billion naira. First of all, nobody has verified that amount of money. Let them tell us who they gave the money to. Because I know that Abia State University, Abia State Polytechnic, they have been owing salaries of teachers. As at the time that the National Board of Technical Education decided to visit the school, they were owing them 13 months salary. But I can confidently tell you that by the time that they've made their finding public and decided to withdraw the accreditation, they were owing them within 35 to 36 months salary. I'm telling you because I have friends and I have relations who are lecturers and who are staff of that school. So it is not even 30 months that they were owing them. They were owing them 30-something months. Now, if you are paid 7.1 billion, where is the money? What was the money used for? How did you pay the money? Is there any white paper, any document showing that the government said the truth? That they brought out that kind of money? Because the money was paid to them the school. Is there any verified evidence, document to prove that fact? But assuming there is, the summary of the story is that the government appointed people who have no business being in that board.
Well,
and in the end, they messed the school up. And look at the funny part. Professor Ikechukwu Mgborogwu is actually my friend, and I like him as a person. I even spoke to him the other day. He called me and expressed his own views and everything. He has actually, if I let me not go personal, but Ikechukwu Mgborogwu was Commissioner for Education, and it was under his watch that these schools. I also heard a rumor that College of Engineering in Abia State University that have lost their accreditation. I don't know whether that one
it is still a room. It's not verified yet. I've not been able to verify it.
It's not yet verified, but I don't know about that one. But what I know is that right now, the one that has been verified is that the Abia State University Medical Faculty has lost their accreditation. We are also aware that absolves itself is having a problem. The doctors there are being owed 26 months salary. We are also aware that teachers, private schools, secondary schools are being owed. As of this morning, I asked them, they said they're being owed 16 months salary. Secondary school teachers. Primary school teachers are being owed. College of Education, Technical, Arochukwu, being owed. School of Health, being, oh God, what kind of government is this?
Well, let me comment, sir. Just joining us is Dr. Ikechukwu Mgborogwu, and he has been laughing. Dr. Mgborogwu, before you came in, my question is, the Honorable Commissioner for Information, my good friend, your friend too, Dr. Ikechukwu Mgborogwu, Dr. Ikechukwu Mgborogwu said that the government is not to blame. And since he said it last week, Barr Emperor Ogbonna has not been comfortable with that, and that is why he's here today to add his voice. Now, they have hired and sacked 5 board and management in 7 years. What does that show? Does that not show that they're actually looking for the best, which they have not found?
Who is to be blamed? If Ikechukwu Mgborogwu said the government is not to be blamed, villagers, are you to be blamed? If you have hired and fired 5 boards, still looking for the best.
That's my assumption, that by hiring and firing 5 boards in 7 years, they were actually not satisfied with what they were doing, and they were looking for the best. That's my personal opinion.
They were not looking for the best. They were compensating people.
Political patronage.
This is merely political patronage. Yes. Adolfo Swabara, that was just sacked as the board chairman of absolves. Why did they sack him? Absolves. Why did they sack him? Simply because he said PDP is not doing well, and that Okwa is being marginalized. He was sacked. Is he looking for the best? Is he not part of the 5 board that have been sacked? These are the problems we are talking about. Government is to be blamed for any dwindling in the education sector. They should be held responsible, hook and sinker, completely. You are not with them. And they are there as watchdogs. And for God's sake, it is educated people that are manning this state. The governor is a PhD holder. Professor Mgborogwu, like my friend Barrister Emperor said, is a professor. The PDP candidate now for governorship is a professor and the immediate past Vice Chancellor of Abia State University. Which best are you looking for? Yes, he's a VC. But the boards that has come on board, these people are members of the board. They sat on the board meetings. And they know whatever that has been going on.
Well, the commissioner must have his reasons for saying that the
whatsoever be his reason, he is playing the master's tone. He is there as a commissioner for information, and you know what it means. As a commissioner for information, he's the image maker of the government. He cannot come on air to tell people that government is to be blamed. If he said that here on Monday or last week, he could have been sacked by now.
Oh, let's leave that. MBTA withdrew the accreditation, and one of the issues Emperor took on after the show, he personally called me and he's been talking about is that MBTA acted in good faith, in bad faith rather, that actually there was no reason for the withdrawal.
No, in the first. You said Emperor.
I said you disagree with him on that.
Okay.
That who he said, I'm not quoting him, I'm just implying that he said that MBTA acted in bad faith, that the withdrawal was more political than administrative.
There is nothing like political about it.
Let me explain.
Sorry. There's nothing political about it. You understand? The NBTE, the National Board
for Technical
Education, has a rule. There is a standard to establish any institution to get accreditation. And that standard has been there. This particular NBTE that is on board now did not make that on their own. It is a law of the federation. It is a constitutional matter that if any educational institution is being set, if this requirement is not made, that they should be withdrawn.
He made references to other places
like
where there have not been any schooling. The universities, the colleges of education, the polytechnics have been shut down for several months, running into years. And yet the MBTE has not thought it wisely to withdraw that accreditation. That's why he believes it is more political
than administrative.
The village, can you say quite attentively, sir.
Those areas were being shut down.
Schools there
were being shut down.
Have remained shut.
Has remained shut.
Yes.
Are they own salaries up to 35 months?
That I wouldn't know.
Fine. The MBT is shut down Abia Polytechnic based on the 30 months. They say 30. Yeah, they say 30, but fine. Based on the 30 months arrears in salary of men and women that has families that goes to that place every day, every time. That teaches that teaches people, and it is not hard and not obtainable that this school that generates revenue on their own will owe teachers 30 months salary arrears, and you still want that school to continue.
One of the issues he raised is that these schools are supposed to generate revenue. Thank God you pointed out that, yes. Barr Emperor Ogbonna, that these schools are supposed to generate revenue. They run their accounts, they collect school fee, acceptance fee, all other fee on their own, and manage it without recourse to the government, and yet they cannot manage their affairs. That is what he meant, that these schools are to blame, though. The management of these schools are to blame.
Well, first of all, let me deal with the issue of political. Now, let me ask you a question. If 7 people committed a crime and you were able to catch 3 people, is it a defense in law to say, okay, George, you are being biased? Why didn't you arrest the remaining
people?
You have committed a crime. You have committed a crime and you are supposed to be prosecuted and convicted.
Yes.
What I'm saying is that it is not a defense to say that some other schools are shut down and yet they no accreditation. I just say the question is, did the withdrawal of accreditation follow due process?
He said he did not. That's why he lambasted.
He cannot say that.
That's why he lambasted.
First of all, Eze Chikanayo is a judge on his own cause. There is a principle of law that says, Nemo Judas in causa sua. You cannot be a judge in your own case. Eze Chikanayo is the Commissioner for Information of Abia State, and whatever he says is to defend the state. But the truth is that, as we speak now, Abia State University, before the accreditation was withdrawn, was owing over 30 months.
Abia State Polytechnic.
Abia State Polytechnic was over 30 months salary. And by the standard of National Board for Technical Education, that they are not worthy to remain.
To be a school.
To be a school.
Yes.
And
they can't pay.
They acted based on the law and the rules regulating it. So Eze Chikanayo cannot hoodwink people like me to tell me it's political. Political or what? Is it YPP that has effect? YPP, the Abia State, he even mentioned my party. He said that it's an infantile party with their infantile candidate, which we all know that YPP is for the youths. He wasn't directly mentioning my party. In the end,
he didn't mention YPP.
He didn't do that, but we all know what he was talking about. He's there now. I saw the what do you call it? The press release. He said infantile party. Which other party belong to the youth? That is our party. He looks at us as a threat. He has his party. But the question is YPP controlling any state in Nigeria? No. Is YPP controlling the federal government? No. So trying to blame the opposition for your mistakes. Remember the last time I was on this radio program, you featured me with Eze Chikanayo, you're the commissioner. I told him that a bad workman will always quarrel with his tool. Do you remember his reaction? He was very angry. And I am still telling you, Eze Chikanayo, if you are listening to me, and every member of the Abia State Government, a bad workman will always quarrel with your tool. Why is it that the whole education sector, let me tell you this thing. Are you aware that Abia State private schools. The Abia State government have harassed private schools in Abia State that they have been forced to go to court. As I'm speaking to you, there are 2 or 3 cases filed by private schools in Abia State against Abia State government, which I am their lawyer. We filed the first suit. We are asking the court to rule that emblem fee. Are you aware that Abia State government have a policy that says that unless you pay 1,000 naira, you cannot sit for examinations that were not
external examinations.
Examinations that were not conducted by the school. They have this policy. We went to court. We asked them, on what ground will you be demanding emblem fee? Before you know it, they stopped the schools from registering these schools. I had to go to court. I filed a suit against Abia State government. I even used my money. I used my money and I used my name because I am sponsoring some students. I used my name to file some of these cases. Emperor Ogbonna as the claimant. The court made an interim order restraining Abia State government from stopping any student from being registered on the ground of emblem fee. That's another one they are doing. You will be in your school one day. The Abia State government people do their Abia block. They will come and seal up your school and give you list of money to pay. Most of them are not even backed by law. In the end, they will seal up your school and stop students from coming out and stop students from going in. I went to court. As I'm talking to you, the case is pending in court right now. The court made an injunction restraining Abia State government from sealing up any school because of the fact that they did not pay Abia block. Now, which governments in Nigeria have assaulted education in Nigeria like this current Abia State government? None. When it comes to teachers, pensioners, teachers, my auntie who is a pensioner, she told me how many months they were owing her. Almost 3 years or 4 years pension. The other day, you were in Umuahia. You saw how the pensioners came there and they were dancing. They were calling the name of somebody and calling him Ojugo. I don't want to call the name of that person. But we all saw that video. And we are crying for these pensioners. Some of them are teachers. We have private schools. We have government schools. We have in the institutions of education. What I'm just telling you is that this government have shown a total disregard to education. And unfortunately, our governor is a PhD holder. A PhD holder.
What makes it unfortunate? Is it unfortunate to be a PhD holder?
No. Okay. It's unfortunate that a government that is headed by a PhD holder will be the government that under his watch, education in Abia State will be so much assaulted. That's what I'm saying. That is my argument. Finally, I'm coming. You see the issue of shifting the blame. The truth remains that Abia State governments are the ones that appointed these governing councils. And if they did not manage the affairs of Abia State University and Abia State Polytechnic well, the blame lies wholly on the government. Because a bad workman will always quarrel with his tool.
Dr. Ikechukwu Mgborogwu, just last week, the government of Abia State did not just sit down to fold its arms and begin to blame anybody, whether the opposition or the management or the board. They took a bold step by releasing 450 million naira to Abia State Polytechnic.
For 4 months.
Do not forget the fact that they also said that they have, in the past 7 years, that's before now, released 7.1 billion naira. That was in the past. But now, as we speak, 450 million naira has been released or approved, or I don't know what has been released.
Approved. Not released.
Okay, let's say approved.
Approval is different from release.
Okay, to be, I know it will be, once it has been said.
People will say that approval absolute.
Okay, so this money now approved, I'm sure it will be released. Is it not a welcome development?
Well, 30 minus 4 is 26, mathematically.
That is what it is.
That is what it is. It's not a welcome development by all standards. You see, you asked a question when Barrister Ogbonna was talking earlier, before he started talking. You said that these schools were generating revenues, so they were supposed to take care of themselves.
Why the 90 million naira should be a form of help to them, because the government is supposed to release 50 million Abia State government. Local governments should raise 40 million, bringing it to 90 million.
To take care of their...
to help them.
To help them. Villager, I know you've been listening to one of Fela's music.
Which of them?
He talked about government magic.
Okay, government magic.
Do you know what is government magic?
I do not know.
Fine, let me tell you something. Do you know that every local government in Abia State is being given more than close to 100 and something million per month by the federal government.
As a federal allocation.
Federal allocation.
How much? How many of them receive the government?
Then how many of the local government chairmen receive 60 million?
I don't know. I've not been there. I'm not part of the system.
That's the government magic. But call for auditing today, you will see an up-to-date audit of how the money was gotten, how it was being spent, and how the state government is being owed some over.
So my question is: the 450 million naira approved, whether approved or released?
The 450 million naira that is being approved
or released, as the case may be, I don't know.
Being approved.
I don't know whether it has been released. So is it not a welcome development?
It is not. You now ask me why it's not. I say it's not.
I was about asking you that.
Fine. This 400 and guinea million
50
million naira. How many staffs are there? How many months is being owned? How many months is the balance? This one that is being approved, when are they going to pay?
Well, I don't know.
If it is being paid, what level of assistance will it give?
Are you saying the government
should not be? What is the hope? This money is there.
All right.
They can pay the 30 months at a time.
Let's
face the facts, please.
Shouldn't we commend the government for releasing 450 million naira now?
Commend the man for doing your job.
You can just imagine.
First of all, you are owing somebody 30-something months. You pay him 4 months. What is the accommodation? There is nothing. I have staff. I have lawyers.
But an attempt has been made.
No. I have lawyers that work in my chamber. I have staff that work in my office. And by God's grace, I pay them. Whatever we agree to pay them is what I pay them. And if I pay them, I don't expect them to tell me thank you.
Thank you, because
sometimes I have the account numbers. When they go to court, I transfer money to their account. They don't even come to me. The next day, I'll say, Chima, take this file and go to court. In the evening, he will see an account for money in his account. I don't expect him to come and say me, Oga, I saw the money you paid to me. I am very, very grateful. No. I don't expect my staff to come and tell me thank you for paying my salary, for saying the salary. No. It is my duty to pay the salaries
Is a responsibility.
Now, somebody work for you for 30 months, 30-something months, you pay him 4,000. 4 months. And you want us to applaud you. On what ground would we applaud you? When you have failed in your duty to pay. Now, let me tell you something else. The Abia State Government says that these people are supposed to make profit.
That's I was about. Now, no. I saw to generate their revenue.
One.
To take care of their internal affairs.
If you want them to generate revenue, then allow them to be independent.
Are they not? Are they not?
They are not.
They are not.
In what way?
Once you use Abia State Polytechnic, look at what you said about Adolphus Mwabara. No matter what you look at it, they will say it's not true. Adolphus Mwabara went on air talking about PDP, how they have failed Abia State. He also mentioned that his people of Okwan has been marginalized under PDP. The next day, we heard he have been removed. Are you telling me that? Are you telling me that that's a coincidence? It is not a coincidence, my brother. It's a deliberate act. It shows you that whatever that is going on in these schools is a product of political patronage. That is the truth. It's a product of political patronage. So what I'm telling you is that if you want them to generate revenue or to be self-financing, then let there be an independence in the system. Let people who are appointed as who are professors or who are doctors in the school, let them have the freedom to manage everything. Elect a rector, to elect governing board. Let them have the freedom.
You don't appoint.
Does the law establishing Abia State Polytechnic permit this process?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Even if the law did not, there should be an amendment of that law to give. Okay, let me explain what I'm saying. All over the whole world, the professors normally elect one of their own as VCs. Sure. The governing board is being elected among the professors. That is how it is all over the whole world. Now, the House of Assembly of Abia State should amend the law, give these people a lot of freedom, so that they will be responsible for their mistakes and their greatness. But the moment the state government appoints OS members, and in the end they mess the system up, the government is to be blamed wholly. And let me tell you that thing, sir. I am quite aware that it is the government does not leave 100% financing to the schools. There's a percentage of money, which even the commissioner has said this year. There's a percentage of money the Abia State government brings, and there's a percentage the Abia State Polytechnic brings to pay salaries and to finance the school.
That is why the government says they've released 7.1 billion.
Yes, as I said earlier, that money has not been verified. Nobody can. Let them show us the account upon which the money was.
Shouldn't
we give them the benefit of the doubt?
No, I can't give them.
Hold on. Can I ask you a question?
No, I can't give them that benefit because I know what I have friends who are chairmen of local governments. You know me, Emperor. I have so many friends. They will tell me, "Father, do you know how much I receive?" One of them, I called him on phone and asked him, "Can be done at this place? What have you done?" He told me, "Emperor, do you know how much I receive?" There's what you call
but none of them has come out to say that now.
If you were there, will you say it? Will you say it if you were there? Do you want to be sacked?
Look at this man not being one at the camp.
He decamped,
and the next day he was sacked. You want to see the applied to be like Ibenwoke. That is Abia State now. This thing lies on the government.
Mgborogwu, one of the very key issues the Honorable Commissioner for Information raised was the issue of bloated workforce. He gave instances where the canteen has, I don't know whether I'm right, 100 and something workers. His security, there are only 2 gates at Abia State Polytechnic. One is permanently locked. And if I heard him right, 50-something security men manning one particular gate. Yes. There is no hostel where we say we are protecting the children from being kidnapped by marauding bandits. Now, don't you think that this issue of overbloated workforce is the major problem of Abia State Polytechnic? You are not an insider.
I'm not an insider. Let's rely on what the commissioner said. Overbloated staffs.
And by the time you want to, with the big stick, the union will come to fight you.
Which union? The union that is being established by law, that the government is controlling, is taking care of. The problem is that these overbloated staff cannot be sacked. Because
that is the issue.
They are bringing the names. Let me refer you back.
When you say they,
the government.
Who appoints them?
The government sends those names. The commissioner has people.
He says those employments are being done by the management and the board.
Listen, which kind of management and board? Who put in the management? Who put in the board? You are a governor.
Who does he say what to do?
You are a governor. And you appoint people, you give them responsibilities. All of a sudden, you employ 10 people. By the time you come back there next, you see 100 people. What will you do? I will sack from A to Z.
Is it that easy?
Very easy.
It is not.
Let me tell you why it is very easy. This is law. Emperor was talking about the House of Assembly enacting law that will enable for one thing or the other. Now, is there any law that enables any department to overbloat their staff strength?
All right.
So if there is no law that enables them to overbloat their staff strength, there will be no law to sack that overbloated staff. How can you bring 50 something? 50 something is just to manage. Here we are 90.
It is easier to hire than to fire. Do not forget that in civil service and public service.
If they are me, Dada say we know how to hire them, we know how to fire them.
Barrister Emperor
the
Ogbonna.
Way you come in from the backyard, the way you go out from the backyard.
Now, enough of lamentation. If you find yourself in the house as a house member, you are contesting, what do you think should be done from the angle of the House of Assembly, angle of the legislature, to handle or solve this issue of education in Abia State? Because our lines are already buzzing.
Well, first of all, the first thing I will do is this. I will ensure that education has a higher percentage when it comes to the higher percent of funding when it comes to the budget. The budget for education have to be increased to meet with the problems of Abiapoly and Abia State University.
Education generally.
Education sector.
Education sector. See, we are in a crisis situation.
Yes.
And you cannot continue having the same amount of budget you have for education. You must pay these people. Oh. Somebody works for you. You have a duty to pay him, both in heaven and in hell. If you are owing the devil, you pay the devil. If you are owing God, you pay God his money. You cannot eat God's money. You cannot eat the devil's money. When you are owing people salary, you must pay them. So Abia State's government have to increase their budgets when it comes to education. 2, we must, if I find myself in the house, we are going to set up, I will move that we set up a committee that will help the government to ensure that these people are being paid. 3, when it comes to appointments, we must ensure that only qualified educationists are appointed to be in education boards and to become the commissioner for education.
Don't forget that we have had a professor as the commissioner for education, and some of these things happened under him. Is he not a tested and seasoned educationist?
Well,
the system is the problem.
No, the system alone. Let me explain what I'm saying. It is not all about the commissioner. We're talking about the general board.
Okay.
You have to ensure that. I know some lawyers who are in that board. I know some of my friends who are there. Now, it is not the commission alone. You ensure that the board is peopled by qualified educationists, and we also try to audit these schools.
Not just releasing money to them. Find out what they do with this money.
Find out what they do with this money.
Because if the government has actually released 7.1 billion naira in the past 7 years,
why can't they audit it?
So it means that something is wrong somewhere.
Nobody has bothered to audit the
Why can't they audit? Why can't they audit that 7.something billion?
Nobody has.
For 7 years, you are not auditing it. You want to bring in more.
You are just bringing money, giving money. In the end, the money is shared among some people.
That means there's problem.
There's a problem. I blame the government wholly.
There's a problem.
Okay, look at the problem there. When you appoint your political apologists, you have no power to control them. And remember, in Nigeria, when these people are appointed, lobbying goes on and everything goes on. We know what happens in Nigeria before people are being appointed. But when you allow these things to be done the way it's supposed to be done, on merit,
all right,
people will do the right thing. And not only that too, I meant Abia State University, Abia State Polytechnic law that will give the school more independence. The academic board and the professors and doctors there will have more liberty to choose who the director is. You don't just bring in somebody,
imposing people on the school.
Them. But if the man did not do well,
giving them directives on what to do.
From absolute, you go to absolute. From absolute, you go to Abiapoly. In the end, you choose him to the same time. The same person,
right.
You are bringing back.
All right.
We must get this thing right. And let me say this, sir. I blame the House of Assembly of Abia State for whatever we are suffering in this state. The House of Assembly has the constitutional duty to checkmate the governor.
But they are rubber stamp.
They are rubber stamp. This current House of Assembly, with all due respect to them,
they are rubber stamp.
They are the problem of Abia State.
They are rubber stamp.
Because do you know that this year they were locked. The House of Assembly was locked for the major part of this year. They've been on truck and key. I don't know whether they've opened now. If they're opened, there is no effect. We're not feeling it. Now, the House of Assembly has a duty to act as a check and balance to the executive. But what do we see?
That's their duty.
That's their duty.
Their core
but
duty.
what do they see? Whenever you bring somebody to the house, they take a bow.
Take a bow.
Take a bow and go. In the end, we are having what we call kakistocracy. Kakistocracy is government of the worst people.
All right.
My name is Francis. I'm calling from Umongase.
All right, sir.
Yeah, I have been listening keenly to the discussion. I want to say that with the issue of Abiapoly, the governor is not entirely to be blamed. I'm not a fan of the governor, to be sincere. But you see, the governor cannot be everywhere. He appoints people that will do some job for him. When those people go there and begin to be self-serving, the governor also has other things that he may not really be there at the same time. I can tell you categorically that while we are complaining that salaries are not being paid, I know of people working in Abiapoly in the management cadre that are leaving it large. So they go there and continue to do whatever they like. And when the governor comes hard, people like Barr Emperor will also find some argument.
Hello?
That the governor has... Hello?
Can you hear me? Go ahead.
When the governor now sacks people or sacks those of local staff, you still see people coming on air to say he has sacked people. Remember what happened with ACMD. So it's a very dicey situation. The management there has to take a greater chunk of the blame.
Thank you very Thank you very, very much. He made a valid point. He said the governor should not entirely receive the blame, that the management should also receive some blame. I think I agree with him. Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Thank you, sir. Your name and where you are calling from?
My name is Uche. I'm calling you from Abia here.
Go ahead, sir. You have a minute.
Yeah. The fact remains that things, if anybody tells you that things are working in the right way in this state, that person is trying to, I don't know what to call him. They always do things. It's a shameful thing. I don't know how to say it. You are proud. Say you are a governor, you are a commissioner, whatever. You are owing your people for 30-something months. And you come proud, I mean, I don't know how to say it. I just say it's dreadful. Let me just end it that way.
Well, we don't like such language on our show. Every state has its own challenge. There is no state in Nigeria that does not have its own challenges. And I believe that these issues are surmountable. Hello?
Hello, my name is Emmanuel. I'm calling from Initial Language South.
All right, sir, go ahead.
So I have really heard what happened, and I thank the Barrister for what he said, but also all the things we are doing, I like it, but the problem is, what are we going to do to end this particular problem in Abiapoly? That's the major problem. We cannot blame the governor. We cannot blame the staff. Who will have the blame? It's those people that are taking care of the school. I'm talking about officials, lecturers, what is the name of this system? The people that are in charge of the school management. They're the one that will be reporting to the governor on what to do and what is going on in that particular station. But they're not doing it. Look at the security gentleman saying that they employ them, 50 of them. They are now up to 100 or 90 of them. Is it not the man that is in charge, the general director for that lecturers that are in charge in that school? They're supposed to know what to do about that, know how to
Thank you.
Their security men and the lecturers, of course.
Thank you. I am sure I am not competent enough to speak for Abia State Government. I'm sure that something is being done to ensure that this problem is finally solved and bring Abia State back to where it should be. I do not think the government is keeping quiet about it. Hello?
Yes, the issue of having 50 people or 40 people for security manning one gate or manning two gates, what are they manning for? How can you do that? How can you have up to that amount, the number of people manning the gate? So these are things that have to be checkmated and then put it in the right direction. It is not, it is not in the right sense at all.
Thank you.
So let them go into it and then put it in the right direction. This school does not have hostels. This will just to come that day and they go that day. So if you have few men or whatever that can man the whole place, not telling me that the other of the 40
Thank
people,
you.
50
Thank
people.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm Rabuchi from Glastonbury side.
Go ahead, sir.
What of the money that they are realizing from that very Abiapoly?
That is the question the commissioner has been asking.
Sir?
Go ahead.
Students are paying, and they are collecting an acceptance fee from them. What are they using the money for? Because I have a sister that is schooling there. I know how much she's spending every time. Then what are the management of that school using the money for? That they will be claiming that they are owing them over 35 months salary. The money they are generating from there, what are they using it for? Let Barr Emperor answer this question because they must give account of that money. And it's a huge amount of money that they are generating.
I wonder whether Barr Emperor Ogbonna is competent enough to answer this question, to know and say what the money being generated internally at Abiapoly is being used for.
Let me just say this. Now he mentioned my name. See, the commissioner was just trying to pull a wool over our eyes when he talked about 50 or 70 or 90 security men. Let me tell you, if I appoint a board, I will give the boards a term of reference. I will tell them this is what I want to do. If the governor who appoints the board or the government that appoints the board says the board, let there be an embargo on employment. First of all, let us audit the number of staff we have in Abiapoly and ensure that the staff is not overbloated or does not have a higher number. That is what the government should give them as a term of reference. And when you do it, you are sure the accountant general of the school knows how much money he releases to the student, to the school, as everything. What I'm saying is that if the government want to stop people from employing more people, government can do it.
All right, so let's take more calls.
So don't tell me that the 50 people, 70 people is to be blamed on this thing. No, it's the government that have failed in stopping the board.
All right,
from employing people.
let's take more calls. Hello?
Yes, this is Tony on the line from Alan.
All right, you have a minute.
Like some people are saying, the governor cannot be everywhere. I want to ask, this issue.
Hello?
The issue is that they have not been paid. Is it that the governor has released money and the money did not get across to them, that people are trying to defend the governor that he cannot be everywhere to do primary assignment, then where should the governor be? To be where? To be with Wike or to travel with Wike? Is that where you should be? He come out and tell us, did he release money and the money did not get across to them? So the people should not come out and tell us nonsense that the governor cannot be blamed. He should be blamed, please.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've been discussing the issue of education in Abia State, and we are sure that with concerted efforts, with political will, this problem of not just Abia State Polytechnic, but other institutions of learning will be solved. We are appealing to the government to go the extra mile, to wield the big stick. Anybody that is found culpable of causing the state this embarrassment should pay for it. I'm also asking the government to revisit the report of 2015, which I was told indicted a lot of people. Those people indicted, they are the architects of this problem of Abia State Polytechnic, and they should be brought to book. Barr Emperor Ogbonna, you have just 30 seconds.
Yes, what I want to say is this. For those who are, some of you who think that the government is not to be blamed, the question is, why are we having a crisis in Abia State Polytechnic, Abia State University, Abia State College of Education, Arochukwu, Abia State School of Health, primary schools in Abia State, secondary schools in Abia State? Why is it that all the educational institutions...
Your pattern short.
No, I'm just saying this. My pattern short is that when you consider the fact that every educational institute in Abia State is having a problem, then you will now know who to blame. Because if you are telling me that the governor and the government is not to be blamed, how come every educational institution is having a problem of salaries and management?
I take that as your pattern shot. Dr. Ikechukwu Mgborogwu, 30 seconds, your pattern shot.
I will only tell Abians to correct it now. And how would they correct it? Because this present government can never correct it.
They still have some time left. Don't forget that.
Less than 7 months.
It is possible.
Less than 7 months.
Everything is possible.
The committee that you are saying pattern, my pattern was. I'm trying to say so that you cannot derail me. So let them get ready to change the government.
Well, this is not time to campaign for.
Am I a politician? You know I'm not a politician.
Against anybody.
But you know I'm not a politician. I'm a Nigerian.
Thank you for being part of this edition of the Village Square. Let us assist the government in whatever thing we can. Let's support the government where we can to get this problem solved. Thank you for being part of the Village Square this evening, and let us do it again next week. I am Dr. Stanley Drago. Remain law abiding and bye for now.